Hi, everybody. Hello, and welcome to another Stigma Breakers Collective LOD Random but Real segment with my girls. Well, I don't know if we should just shout her out now. What you think, Danya? Well, I say with Danya Parker and the new Miss Ashley Lockley or Ash Lockley. She got married, y'all. So we just clap it up for Ashley. Yay! Beautiful bride. So absolutely. You'll see me on here twice. That's because for some reason my stuff doesn't want to work today. It's always something. So maybe this is gonna be good because usually when I'm getting attacked or something, it's usually a great like show. I don't know if that happens to y'all, but I'm not gonna let it get me down. So I'm muted on one and I'm on camera on the other because the camera won't work on the other. So I will try my best to answer your questions and see them as we talk. As you see, my phone just failed. So then you're not going to see my face if I don't do that. I'll try to get it fixed so that October will not be this bad. But I do apologize for being late. They were on time. I was on time. I just couldn't log on. Anyway, this month is Suicide Prevention Month or Suicide Awareness Month. People use the terms a lot of times interchangeably. It's important to all three of us for different reasons. And if you've been following Stigma Breakers for, it hasn't been a year yet, y'all, almost a year. Yeah, that's right. Because I started September last year just doing videos with other people. And then God birthed this into what you all have been so graciously following us. We appreciate that for such a long time. Suicide prevention or suicide awareness is important for me because at one point I wanted to commit suicide. Danya, would you like to share why it's important to you?
It's important to me because on August the 14th, 1994, I lost my youngest brother, Rocky, to suicide. And that was the birth of the Rock for Life Foundation in 2018, 2019, and my family's journey to healing.
Man. And Ashley, would you like to share why it's important to you?
It's important to me because I have dealt with chronic suicidality for the last 20 years of my life. I am a survivor of a suicide attempt. And so I'm passionate about helping others to live while at the same time helping myself to live.
Amen. And I don't know if you can see Tracy said congratulations regarding your marriage. So you know. Thank you all for sharing. So today we're going to talk about like basically two topics. Suicide, expands across different genres. A lot of people think that children don't do it or they don't have thoughts about suicide. And if you've been watching the news, etc., you'll find out that that's completely not true. One of my, I guess, most disappointing aspects of this topic is that a lot of people do not get help or don't seek information until it's too late, meaning there's someone in their family or there's a friend or someone that they heard of that they love. They're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that they were this, this, and this. But the symptoms and the signs are often there. It just takes a person to take the opportunity to be observant and be able to say, whatever it is, to ask the question, are you okay? Are you, actually asking them, are you contemplating suicide? Are you thinking about taking your life? Not, are you hurting yourself? Because I could hit myself in the face and hurt myself, right? But that's different than me wanting to take, a gun or a knife or some other item and end my life. They're two different things. And so we do have to start speaking in terminology and not being afraid of the topic, but having that conversation can actually save a life. And so if this is not for you, trust me, unfortunately, there's somebody out there that or somebody else that may know them that you share this information with, that it can actually be helpful for. We're also going to talk a little bit about self-care because sometimes, reasons of suicide are when you're kind of pushed to the edge and you don't feel like you are supported and you don't feel like, I don't know. I've had a few anxiety I guess, attacks, not really panic attacks, but very close lately. And I know what it's like to be pushed to the edge and feel like, what's the point of being here? Thankfully, I have not been to that point, but I have, like I said, in the past been where I had suicidal ideation. So I get it. So we're going to start with Danya. And did you have some statistics that you want to share?
Yes. So these are basic suicide statistics in the U.S. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. for all ages. And everything that I'm quoting is from the CDC. We have the internet, so there is no excuse. You can get any information off the internet, pretty much. CDC, NOMNI, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the Suicide Hotline. There's a couple of other ones we'll throw out. Okay, so let me go back. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. for all ages. Every day, approximately 130 Americans die by suicide. There is one death by suicide in the U.S. every 11 minutes. Depression affects 20 to 25% of Americans ages 18 plus in a given year. Suicide takes the lives of over 48,500 Americans every year. The highest suicide rates in the U.S. are among whites, American Indians, and Alaska Natives. Only half of all Americans experience an episode of major depression receive treatment, and that information came from NOMNI. 80% to 90% of people that seek treatment for depression are treated successfully using therapy or medication. In order for that to happen, you have to seek help. It's not going to come to you, you have to want it. An estimated 285,000 each year become suicide survivors. There is one suicide for every estimated 25 suicide attempts. There is one suicide for every estimated 4 suicide attempts in elderly. And a lot of people don't think, like Lisa was saying, with the children and elderly, the elderly rate is high as well.
Mhm.
I'm almost finished, guys. Suicide among males is 4 times higher than among females. Male death represent 90% of all U.S. suicides. Sorry, nearly 800,000 people die by suicide in the world each year, which is roughly one death every 40 seconds. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in the world for the ages 15 through 24 years of age. Depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide. I'm sorry. Females are more likely than males to have had suicidal thoughts. Female experience depression at roughly 2 times the rate of men. Females attempt suicide 3 times as often as males. Poisoning is the most common method of suicide for females.
Wow. So
Um,
what gets me is that every time I hear the different stats or I research, there's something different that I learn.
mhm.
You know what I mean? And so, audience members or those who are viewing, we want to hear, your questions, your thoughts. Are you learning anything? Wow. Elvis said, wow, the statistics there. It's kind of troubling, right? But just imagine if we didn't have the information. So now we have it, we can do something with it, right? Um,
Yeah, and to also think most statistics are at least 2 to 3 years behind.
Yep.
So those aren't even the most recent statistics. And so just think about the nature of like if we're not getting the information out in a timely fashion,
mhm.
it's becoming um, more of a very kind of thing that we need to approach and really attack head on.
So you got to think when you were saying 2 years behind, I still have a few more I need to read. So that means we're looking at statistics between 2018 and 2019 because I don't think CDC has really updated for, no, actually, I'm right, 2018. So it has not updated yet since 2018. So think about it, especially with COVID going on and kids just going back to school. There's a lot going on. You want me to go ahead and read the other ones?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. 1 in 100,000 children ages 10 to 14 die by suicide each year. That's from NAMI. 7 in 100,000 youth ages 15 to 19 die by suicide each year. 12.7 in 100,000 young adults ages 20 to 24 die by suicide each year. The prevalence of suicidal thoughts, suicidal planning, and suicidal attempts is significantly higher among adults aged
Excuse me.
18 through 29 than among adults 30 plus. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for 15 to 24 years of age Americans. Suicide is the fourth leading cause of death for adults ages 18 to 65. The highest increase in suicide is in males 50 plus. Suicide rates for females are highest among those aged 45 to 54. Wow. Suicide rates for males are highest among those aged 75 plus. Suicide rates among the elderly are highest for those who are divorced or widowed. And that's my statistics.
Wow. So like people my age are dying. I'm 48.
That's why I said,
Women my
wow, when I said 54, because I'm 54. I was like, wow.
right. Noah said the pandemic has made people sorry tired um, of struggling, and awareness and hope is necessary. Absolutely, I agree. Um, I've definitely been tired this pandemic. I was. It's not really a joke, but I was telling Danya the other day. I was like, my brother hugged me for the first time in over a year. I don't think I've seen him since January or February of last year, and then that's just what um, as a family, his decision. He has two kids and a wife, you know what I mean? And so, for of course, most of the year, nobody was vaccinated. And so, to keep them safe, that hug never felt so good because since I am not around anyone that I can hug, you know what I mean? Um, this year has been really hard. And there's been times where I've had to fight those loneliness, the lonely feelings, or oh my gosh, I can't believe like I'm a hugger. If you've ever met me, ask Danya, ask Ashley. Like it's hard not to even hug them. We're all vaccinated and I've seen them, through this time. But I think sometimes we do half hugs and sometimes we're doing elbows and all the stuff because you want to stay safe, but it's just like I'm dying. I went on vacation and I was even like freaking out about that. Like, oh my gosh, like you're around a lot of people. Who am I gonna be around? Am I gonna be okay? Like the whole process, not that I don't trust her, but you just don't know. And so Tracy said that hits home and it does. We can definitely I can see myself in some of those statistics had it not been just for me personally for Jesus to stop me, honestly. So, what were you gonna say, Danya?
Oh no, the sad part is I think about it. If I would have this much knowledge, had not my brother had taken his life, would I had focused on it this much had my brother not taken his life? And that's why I say now at this point, there's no excuse because we have so much knowledge out there. It's up to us to actually take the time to look at it. And sometimes, especially right now, I look at what's going on. You post about suicide awareness. Everybody know I tell my story as much as possible. Ashley talks about it. I don't know how many people are on here right now, but our this platform today should be extremely strong because we can sit there and listen to a man ridicule a woman or a woman ridicule I can't even say it, a man, or we're bashing each other, but the stats are so high. Everybody's on YouTube looking at it or doing this, but something that we need to look at and talk about, we won't do it. We will not. I don't know if we are afraid of talking about it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. And at this point, the stigma is never going to stop if we keep being afraid. And at the end of the day, and I tell everybody, I worry about our youth, and I say this all the time as adults. If we're struggling, we're having problems trying to understand what's going on with our bodies, can you imagine what a child is going through? After I posted about suicide awareness, I received 2 phone calls about 2 youth that have tried to take their life since being back in school. One is in the 8th grade, and I can't remember what the grade the other one was in. So we need to take the moment and talk to our kids. The sad part is the pandemic was enough that we had that time to have a conversation. It's not a it's a hard conversation, but just ask the goddamn question, because there's a quote out here that says, I would rather hear your story than to attend your funeral. So I'm gonna add a little more to that. I would rather hear your story than not to have you sitting at the dinner table, not to have you at the Christmas dinner, not to celebrate your birthday, or on your birthday I'm writing a story about your death, or I'm selling or talking about the anniversary on your death. So I would rather hear your story than to be doing that. I would rather have to hear your story, you get on my nerves, me get on your nerves, than not to have you here. So I'm sorry.
Sorry for what?
Oh well, no, I'm not sorry. It's just because I can. Y'all know how emotional I get when it comes to this, but it gets to the point we're constantly sitting there. We're talking about this. We're talking about that. But the things that we really need to focus on, we are not focusing on. And we would never stop that stigma if we don't address it. Point blank, period. Mental health is mental health. It's just like everything else. Diabetes. And then people don't realize your mental health affects everything else within your body. Everything. If your mental is not right, you're not going to focus on going to the doctor to check this or check that. Your mental can trigger everything else.
Facts. It's like, did you have something to say? Actually, she just said it. I mean,
Yeah, I think just as an add-on, I think also the conversation needs to be about increasingly risky behaviors that we might see with people. Sometimes when someone may be dealing with suicidal ideation and may not identify it as such. And I say that because uh, I had a very personal death happen a couple years ago. And on the other side of the person's death, looking at the last couple of months of their life, they didn't identify as being suicidal. They didn't identify, um, outwardly as dealing with things super duper heavy. But in retrospect, we could identify um, a pattern of behavior, increasingly risky behavior, that put this person in more and more danger. Um, and so I'm not saying that every person who engages in risky behavior may be dealing with suicidal ideation or suicidal intent. Um, but I do think that, as Danya said, we have to ask the questions and we have to be very direct in the questions. I think the biggest chance of us greatly eliminating suicide is for us to understand the impact of community care. Um, just like with anything else, dealing with people who may be experiencing suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts is not one size fits all. Some people have the community and need the resources. Some people have the resources and need the community. Some people need a mixture of both. And I think where we are with how we're educating on suicide is there needs to be a more nuanced kind of perspective and approach to our conversations, as well as how we teach people to really be on the lookout for signs, right? A lot of things are not as cut and dry as we would like them to be, because life is life, right? Two people can be experiencing the same thoughts and same feelings, and it present itself in two totally different ways. And so I think that's kind of where what I wanted to say to add to the conversation, that we don't get stuck on looking for certain things. Like, it's great to know the signs, right, and symptoms, and to understand what it is that we might be able to see in other people's behavior and how they interact, and not, or lack of interaction, right? But we have to keep an open mind that it may not always look a certain way. It may not always present a certain way.
Absolutely.
Defining
Wait a second,
ideation.
Ashley, before you go to that, I wanted to say, and you're absolutely right. The reason why I'm stuck on that, for the people that I know that have done it, they did have clear signs. And you were talking about community and restorative approaches or practices. We talk that relationship. So if I know you and I speak to you, I know when you're not having a great Ashley day. When I speak to Danya, I know that she's not having a great Danya day, but that's because I've established relationships with you, and the same for you all with me. And if we don't build relationships or build community, it makes it really hard to know when someone's having those off days, and then we do miss the signs. But you're absolutely right or correct about that. But I do want people to understand that building those relationships starts with us. So even in the times that I was having suicidal thoughts or ideation, and we're going to actually explain that, Tracy, I still knew there, even when I say there's nobody out there, I know that there's somebody out there. Y'all too, Tracy, you know what I'm saying? I know that I have someone who cares. The question is, am I going to reach out when I'm feeling like that? That's the whole, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother issue. However, a lot of the times when I am super overwhelmed, and I mean, literally, y'all seen Dr. J, she comes on here sometimes, my coworker, she had to take her kids to school for the first time, you know, this first year. Mother, you know what I'm saying, taking her children to school, all the stuff that goes along with that, right? Especially in the, you know, dealing with the pandemic. And I was so overwhelmed. Like, this is 2:00 in the morning. She had to get up at 5, no, like 1:00. She had to get up at 5, and she stayed on the phone with me so that she could talk me down off the ledge, because that's how overwhelmed and how anxious I was about the stuff that I was dealing with. And I thanked her this morning. She had sent me a prayer, and I thanked her. And her words to me is, "That's what friends are for." Just those words meant the world to me, because everybody's so busy doing their own stuff, and I know it and I get it. But she knows me now, and she knows when I'm not, you know, my regular self. I mean, I'm a lot. I get it. I am. I'm a lot. I have a lot of stuff going on due to the trauma I've experienced. But I just think that, you know, if we do build relationships with people, not just each other as adults, but especially children, talk to your kids. Danya and I were talking about that. It's no reason, and I mean this, and nope, I'm not a parent, but I've taught enough parents parenting skills over the years. It's no reason for a mom or a dad not to know your child if you're spending quality time with them. It's essential. The children were not born to be on this earth and have to just deal with life on their own. So it baffles me when I hear, especially with the parents that I had, and even if you listen to my poem, Choosing to Forgive, at one point hating my dad, to God healing that relationship and restoring, again, restorative practices, that relationship. He still knew something about me. He still had, you know what I'm saying? He knew things about me. We still had a relationship, regardless of where he lived, near or far. He knew his daughter sang. He knew, he was like, he would be mad if he knew I was singing secular, even to this day, even in his grave. You know what I'm saying? But it's just built on relationship. And I want to drive that point, but you're absolutely right. It's not necessarily always black and white, but if you know a person, then you can tell when they're not really themselves, unless we're faking, because I fake too. But I know what I'm talking, you know what I'm saying? Like, I fake, but I also have the clinical knowledge. Not that it's good, but I just think that if we build better relationships or more community based relationships, then we'll be able to see when someone's maybe not 100%, and then be able to kind of step in and help them through that process, or get them a resource that can help them. But
So I want Ashley to explain the suicidal ideations, but after that, I want to go back to what you just said.
Okay. So understanding like suicidal thoughts, being suicidal is not like a one point in time. There's a whole spectrum that goes from suicidal thoughts to suicidal ideation to actually attempting suicide. So suicidal thought is, you might just wonder, like a very passing wonder, like, oh, I wonder what it would be like if I wasn't here. I wonder, how people would respond, how people would be if I wasn't here. Suicidal ideation, which again, it's a spectrum, right? So your thoughts can be from just like a light thought to kind of you're starting to kind of, I don't want to say meditate, but you're starting to kind of, it's more than just one thought. It's kind of like a, well, I wonder what I would do, to end my life. Do I want to actually come up with a plan? Do I want to, when do I want to do it? What are things that I want to do before I die? So you're kind of moving into a place where you're thinking about lots of different parts of this one particular action, and you're considering those things. And along with suicidal ideation comes, a lot of times, behaviors, right? So for me, when I'm experiencing suicidal ideation, my main thing is that I isolate myself. I don't want to be around people. I don't really want to talk to people. I'm just with myself. But there are other behaviors that you can look at this that might signal that someone is experiencing suicidal ideation. They start, their whole behavior or demeanor changes. They kind of speak in a kind of different way. You start to notice that their language is more removing themselves from various situations. If someone starts to give away a lot of their things that they consider to be valuable or precious, and you don't really understand where that's coming from. You don't know if, for me as a 34-year-old woman, if I start giving away the few things that are very valuable to me, my friends and family should be like, all right, know what's going on. And so there are lots of different ways that we can understand suicidal ideation. Every person that experiences suicidal ideation does not get to the point where they attempt. Every person that experiences suicidal ideation doesn't get to a point where they have a concrete plan. You can have you can be in suicidal ideation and you don't. You know, I've had, as I have mentioned, I am a survivor of a suicidal attempt. But most of the time when I'm suicidal ideation, I don't get past the point where I'm going to find a specific plan and try to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. Um, but it's a heaviness, it's a weightiness, and as Lisa said, if you know people, you're in community with people. The people who know you best should be able to recognize that there are small things that might change. Even if it's your perspective on things, you start speaking a little differently, and it's just a little, it's different. You're removing yourself from things. You're speaking of, like, I don't I don't need to be here. I don't need to deal with this. Um, and that's what we say. Even if you have an inkling that someone is dealing with suicidal ideation, it is best to ask very direct questions.
Yep.
If you ask somebody, "Hey, are you planning to kill yourself?" You're not going to put that idea in someone's head if it wasn't already there.
Exactly.
And most times, if you ask someone who's dealing with suicidal ideation that very direct question, they're going to be very direct with you, because at that point, it's like, what do you have to lose? A lot of people are in pain, so much pain, which is why they're kind of in that space, right? And so at that point, there isn't much to lose. I'm not going to lose anything by being truthful with you. And so, you don't want to beat around the bush. Like Lisa said, you don't want to ask somebody if they're thinking about hurting themselves. Like, that's very vague. If you ask someone if they're planning to kill themselves and they say yes, well, what's the plan? Let's talk through it. And it can sound very morbid. And a lot of people don't like these conversations because it really does require you to decentralize yourself and your feelings. And that's what a lot of mental health is, right? Mental wellness space is decentralizing yourself in that moment so that you can centralize the other person so that we can get them to the other side of life. Not done.
Absolutely.
And
So here's a list of what some of the things that Ashley was just talking about, what to watch for: feeling like a burden, being isolated, increased anxiety, feeling trapped or in unbearable pain, increased substance use, looking for a way to access lethal means, increase anger or rage, extreme mood swings, expressing hopelessness, sleeping too much or sleeping too little, talking or posting about wanting to die, making plans for suicide. So I wanted to go back to something Lisa was saying about how when you have a relationship with someone, how you could tell like if I'm not having a good Danya day, or if Ashley's not having a good Ashley day. But I'm gonna say I can only speak for myself. By dealing with depression, because I dealt with my own depression and dealing with depression for so many years, some of us are extremely good at hiding it. So how can you get around it? Because I know at one point that person is going to slip up in some kind of way, but some of us are extremely good at hiding what we're dealing with. And I know I'm one of those people.
But I said that, right? I said I'm a good faker, but that's
Yeah,
not true. I can still tell when you're not on point, and I can still tell when Ashley's not on point because I've spent intimate quality time with you. So it
okay.
doesn't matter how much a person fakes. It could be an inflection in your voice. It could be that you not like I mean, not that you're like all the time, right? But I can. It's something to change. And then honestly, y'all, just for a second, I'm gonna go spiritual, and then I'm gonna leave it. The Holy Spirit will let you know.
Right.
He's led me. I don't know if I shared with you. I think I did. Two of my friends tried to commit suicide. One is deceased now. The other one is still living. And this is how I got to it, because the one that I was supposed to call, God was like, call. I didn't normally call this person. I'm like, why you got me calling him? You know what I mean? Me, I'm always asking questions, right? This is before the trauma. So like God is still working on me. And so I was like, well, I called. And then later on I found out that they tried to cross over the road and, run into somebody else. That taught me a lesson, because thank God let them live. Another friend I called, I was going to my godmother's, she's deceased now, but going to her celebration at my old church, my childhood church. I was excited to be there and celebrate with her. I just happened to call. I usually would call when he didn't live that far from my church. So if I was on that side of town, I would just call, check in, say, hey, how you doing? There was something in his voice. It didn't sound right. I didn't know what it was. And I knew I was at church to celebrate my godmother, but something was going on in my friend's voice that I need to see. And I've shared this. My mom used to be like, I need to lay my eyes on you.
Mm-hmm.
She needed, especially like when I got raped at school, she was like, I'm coming down. I need to be like, I just need to see that you're okay. Because it's something different from when I'm just saying something than when I actually get to see you face to face. And now, y'all, what are we doing now? We on camera. So we have video chats. There are other ways if we can't get to a person, even in COVID, to be able to see, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, or just asking questions like, what did you do today? Da, da, da. I got to the place, and a lot of times he was just entertained in his bedroom forever. Nothing going down for those spiritually holy people on here. That's not what I'm saying. And so I told him the story about the first person. And he was like, it's funny that you would say that, because my gun's right there on the other side of the bed. This guy had, 3 children? Like, he was really ready to take his life because of the weight of the world at the time. And I just thank God for just me not being selfish and want to focus on my godmother and going to go see him. I'm not saying I saved his life, but I'm saying that God used me to spare it in that moment, because he was contemplating, suicide at the time. I never heard him talk like that before. It wasn't anything that was a norm. It wasn't like somebody like me who's actually thought about it, you know what I'm saying? Even though I didn't, attempt. And so sometimes, and it's good. We can go back, Danya, but I think this is also a good way into self-care. You know what I'm saying? Self-care isn't selfish, but sometimes self-care also means putting yourself aside, not all the time, but just listening and being aware to what other people are dealing with. And even if you can't help, it's nothing wrong with giving a resource. And it's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I got your message, but I can't talk to you today because I'm dealing with my own stuff too. And if I'm your friend, then I understand that you don't mean it because you don't like me. You know what I'm saying? You don't mean it that way because you don't want to deal with me, but you have to put yourself as first as well. But I do believe that you at least owe me like a response. You know what I'm saying? Just text. Like Ashley and I, I think we're both good at that. Like, I'm tired, I'm da whatever. But and she lets me know. I can tell when I can like get a little bit more out of the conversation, and then when it's just like it's not gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Nowhere to go.
He loves me anyway. No, I mean, no, that's right.
It's almost like the feeling is in that text message, whether people realize it or not. It can actually be within that text message. And you just made a statement, because I've listened to so many people and their problems and stuff like that. And I talk. So one person, it was a male friend of mine, he was dealing with a lot. And I listened. This one particular day, I said something to him because I was really, really having a moment. And he made the statement, you are not the only person dealing with something. So right there, see, and I told him, you're the reason why a lot of people don't open up. That's one of the reasons why I don't open up to a lot of people, because of that one statement you just made. Well, no, I didn't mean it like that. Yes, you did, because that's how you said it and that's how I received it. So, and that's the thing right there. And a lot of people get on me because I don't open up. And like Ashley said, sometimes I do isolate myself because I'm learning. Just because I have the quality, the years with you, don't mean that you really care about what I'm going through. So I've learned to deal with things on my own, or try to figure out, or I know who I can speak with about certain things. So it's like that's just me. So when you were talking about how a person, that was the reason why I was asking you that question about how can you tell if Ashley's not having an Ashley day or Danya's not having a Danya's day. It goes back to what you just said. It could just be just the tone of your voice. And just like you said, your mother said, my oldest son is a police officer. He had an accident in his police car. He was fine. They was like, well, he said he's fine. Just like your mom said, no, I need to lay eyes on him. And when my son came home and he held me, that's all I needed right there. I already knew. My youngest son, he fell and hit his head. He had a concussion. No, I need to lay eyes on you. Went in, said what I had to say. He was fine. I left. So I understand that it's that different feeling, because a lot of people are not going to say anything. But if you touch that person, hold that person, or anything, you already know. Point blank, period. That's why I asked you that question. How do you know? Because I know you do know when my tone of voice changes.
I think they get mad at me, y'all, just so y'all know. They don't like when I'm like, what's up? And this is the thing. They'll know. I will call in a second. I will look, Kenneth Barry, your son said true story. Hey, Kenneth. They either try not to answer the phone, but you do know I know how to call back, right? And I might be nice and let you do it then. And if I know somebody else that knows you and I got their number, I'll reach out too and be like, you talk to such and such? Like, because, and I know, because I isolate too. You know what I mean? But honestly, y'all, sometimes I just wish someone would take the time to just be like, Lisa, are you okay? Mm-hmm. Like, are you good? And sometimes I'll be like, no, I'm not good, but I'm going to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean that, but literally from Friday till today, I was frazzled.
Right.
And normally not being able to get on the show would have pissed me off even more. But thank God, like, I'm like, man, what I'm dealing with elsewhere, this is nothing. Oh, well, I can't control technology. I deleted the camera, like they said. What else you want me to delete? Whatever. So, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, because I really do care about, first of all, I've deleted some people out of my life. And I don't mean removed, I mean delete. They may not ever come back. And because of that, it's made me really be thankful for the people who do care about me. The ones who, like, you know what I'm saying? I can use both of y'all example. So for Ashley to take a road trip in the middle of, like, or the end of planning a wedding on a Saturday, and it was her suggestion. A part of me, I'm just being honest, was just like, is she doing that because just to be nice? Because I only have the negative from the trauma experiences, right? So is she just doing that to be nice? Am I talking too much because I was super tired? He
was keeping me up. I kept telling her, I was like, no, Lisa, keep talking. I was a driver. I was like, no, I'm tired. Keep talking.
I just want to read what they say real quick. Yep, I'm usually the encourager. However, when I get those low moments and unable to uplift myself, I find or create my safe space. I have a partner just for that. She and I both established safe words. That's awesome.
That's my cousin Nova.
Okay. Hi, Nova. Hi, cousin Nova. I feel like I'm gonna know Dahlia's family all on the internet,
and my
right?
other person's Latasha.
Yes, I remember her. Latasha is a regular.
Yes.
And then Kitty said, "Got to delete some people for your own mental well-being," and that's true. But that's really hard for me. I don't like to get rid of people who were there. Like you were there since 5th grade. Well, that's not really my story. But let's just use that as an example, right? Then how am I going to get rid of you now? But I've learned, like, you really don't care about me. You really don't care. Like you were acting like you did. You were caring because you wanted something. And I don't mean just guys. I mean like even female friends, pastors technically are pimping me out. Oh, I need you to see at this. You know what I'm saying? Right. So many people are taking advantage of me that it's been hard to sometimes differentiate. So thank God for people who are willing to do stuff like that. And like Danya taking the trip with me.
Got me
to
walking
Nashville.
Oh, sorry.
We were in the sand dunes, y'all, and you know, it was fun. I had 16,000 steps that day. Like, if I could have that right now, I'd probably be skinny. Like, that was a great day. It was the only day that didn't rain, other than the first day we got there. But the first day we were garbed. Like, it was horrible because I was eating Captain George, and that was my number one priority, right? So I went from Captain George to sand dunes to rain. But it was great to know this. I could trust somebody and go. And we had our moments. That's our first time like staying in a hotel room together. But real friends, and Ashley and I can attest to this. I believe real friends have disagreements. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that you have to stop being friends.
Yep.
Just because you disagree, if you're my friend, then we talk it out.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I want to make sure we integrate the self-care in this. Ashley, we can go back to anything else, but you know, why do you feel like, I mean, besides it being, you know, self-care, is it called self-care awareness or self-care month? What's it called?
You know, they make up stuff all the time. It's Self-Care Awareness Month. So apparently September has been newly minted Self-Care Awareness Month, along with a million other causes, because we only have 12 months, right?
Right.
So the one thing that I really wanted to focus on, because, you know, a lot of the self-care messaging these days is, you know, take a bubble bath, paint your toenails, go to the spa, you know, go for a walk, go for a jog, listen to some music. And those things are self-care, right?
They are.
But I want to kind of touch on what you just said about like deleting people. That's self-care too, right? Making decisions that are best for self.
Yep.
It's self-care as well. And so like along with that bubble bath, girl, like let's try saying no, setting great boundaries, right? Because the bubble bath is only going to go but so far.
Right.
Your physical body's going to be good, and then your mental, you're not going to be able to go to sleep because you can't stop your mind from racing all over the place, right?
Right.
So just kind of wanted to name a few things that we may not think about when we think about self-care.
I'm sorry, Ashley, real quick. Mm-hmm. My son says something, do not pay attention to him, okay? That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, I was listening to Ashley. Sorry. Stop talking to elementary school friends some years ago.
No. I was talking about what Ashley was just saying because he gets on me. That's why I was saying that. So if he says anything, just ignore him.
We're going to know your mama this time, Kenneth. We run this. She don't run this. She run you as mama, but she don't run this.
It's okay, Kenneth. We know the truth. It's fine.
Absolutely. Tracy said she loves boundary setting too. Go ahead, Ashley.
And honestly speaking, like we make self. He said, "Here we go." we make self-care out to be something that is just naturally going to feel good right at that instance, that moment. But when you really engage in behaviors that truly are better for yourself, a lot of times you're not going to feel better immediately. Mm-hmm. It is something that is going to take some patience to really see the benefits of. In fact, you might feel like trash, right? At the beginning. Yes, we know the truth, Kenneth.
Yes, we do.
We're going to cut you. You got you. She can't do nothing to you. You call us.
Not at all.
But this is just going to name a few things that, you know, we don't typically think about when we talk about self-care. letting go of something that's holding you back. Reflecting on what you are grateful for in this particular season of life. Taking the time to be still and present for a few minutes. That could be like setting boundaries around your social media time, setting boundaries around watching the news. Because I'm telling you, to watch the news is garbage. Whew, it's terrible.
It's a lot, right?
Thinking of something kind that you can do for someone else today. Being open to what comes your way. Let it in and flow past it. This one I'm gonna say with an asterisk, connecting with someone you haven't talked to in a long time. Let me look in the camera. We know who we're supposed to be connecting with and who we're not supposed to be connecting with, right? Okay.
Were you talking to me?
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, you could be, but you know.
No, I really wasn't, but you know.
I mean, the shoe fits, right? Okay.
Exactly.
They know my business too, y'all. So, you know.
Our sleeping patterns.
Oh.
Guys, sleep is such an integral part of your health. Like when I say how much you sleep and the quality of sleep that you get is important, because you can sleep 8 hours, but if you only get in that REM sleep for 3 of those 8, you're not going to be rested. Your body is not having time to rejuvenate itself. You ain't going to be able to lose weight because your body is tired. You're not going to be able to concentrate because your brain is tired. Like, setting better boundaries. I had to create a bedtime routine. Now, I may not adhere to it currently, but I had to set up a bedtime routine. And then when I was actually using it, I was doing great with self-care. Dancing, taking the time to move your body. So we'll tell people, you know, oh, go for a walk, go for a jog. You know, sometimes turn you on some 90s R&B and snap your fingers and move your body, because that gets your body moving and it helps your body to release negative energy. It helps your body to not hold on to traumatic experiences so deeply, right? Because as the famous book of what this title says, the body truly does keep score. And so going to the doctor. Now, Black people, I know we have a problem. I know we have reasons to mistrust the medical industrial complex, but babies, we got to know what's going on with our health, because what's going on in our bodies is going to affect our ability to engage in self-care. And you can't truly care about yourself if you don't know what's going on with your body. So many of us are walking around so tired because we're just used to being tired. And it could be that we have a deficiency in something. Black people have vitamin D deficiencies all day long because we don't stay out in the sun. And the sun is the biggest source of vitamin D. Now, I already preached about this on a past one, so I ain't going to go there. But I hate going to the doctor. That's just the next one. But I have some chronic ailments that require me to go to the doctor every quarter. And so guess what? I go in the doctor's office. My blood pressure spikes because I have white coat syndrome. And I sit there for that worthless 30 minutes for them to be like, oh, you're doing all right, Miss Reagan. Good. We could have done that over a conference call, but I go. You understand what I'm saying? Right. I go. And so that brief spike in my blood pressure is worth me knowing, hey, everything is okay.
Can I ask you a question real quick? Pause for real quick. Do you go one for you, but do you also go now that you're married? Like, do you feel like it's important for you to take care of yourself so you can be the best wife and mom?
Yeah. Frank and I were only a month into dating, and he took me to his annual physical. And the doctor was like, y'all just started dating? This is weird. And I was like, it's weird to me too, but hey, I ain't going to turn down if a man
invited me. I'm here.
Because I want to know. You know.
Right. I get on guys that I've dated all the time about that, because I'm just like, even if you're not doing it, I mean, do it for you, because you should be first, right? But if you love somebody, and again, like I said, I get it. I know that many Black people have gone through a lot of, medical disparities. It's been rough for a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? There's been racism because of medicine and doctors to like the doctor. I did I ever tell you about the doctor that told me? I don't remember what nationality they were, but she was like, wow, you have a lot of stretch marks. I'm fat, y'all. Okay. So but it made me feel horrible. Like I was like, I know what I got. I have low, like really, really no elasticity in my skin. So I have stretch marks all over, even when I wasn't fat. As a kid, I had them. They started on my knees. By the time I got to college, and I was lifting, man, my skin, and it's still there. And then let's not talk about the stomach, right? So it was just so mean, and it was like they were astonished. They had never seen nothing like that before. Like I'm not the only person in the world that has stretch marks. And if you in the medical profession, I'm sure you've seen them before. But the fact that they said it in the way that they did, it made me feel really, really bad. However, what I was saying about being in relationships, especially if you're leaning towards marriage, you will want to know what status, not just sexual status. I understand, Christians are not supposed to do anything. I get that. But it's so much more to that than this. I do have a lot of medical issues or concerns. I'm working on them, but I do want the person to know that at least I care enough about myself to go. I'm not a fan of the doctor. I don't know if I dislike it as much as Ashley, but I'm not necessarily a fan. Like I hate the dentist.
My blood pressure.
Mine goes up too. It does. I sit there, they be like, I'm like, you got the right cuff? Because
we gonna retake it at the end, girl. Okay. Because
that's what they have to do every single time. She said, the Bible knocks me out. Sometimes I fall asleep when the Bible reads too. Nova's cracking me up.
That is Nova. When I went to the doctor today, so I did everything Ashley just said. I was in here listening to my throwback jams on my radio, had it blasted, all the fat dancing around, having a ball. Then I went to the doctor. My doctor's appointment was good. She couldn't get my blood, but I'm used to that. But they finally got it. But I agree. I was in here grooving, having fun. And that's what I do. I'll turn on my music, let it play loud, clean up, do work, this, that, and other. I'm doing like 20 different things. And I had a ball today. The part of the week I was kind of edgy, on edge, but it's like the last couple of days, today actually. It's been a good day. It was a good day. And my results were very good today.
And I was trying to find the camera. I had two cameras on. I was like, which one?
Well, actually, we only see your picture up in the one camera, and we see you.
Right, but I have both cameras on my.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, which one am I on? But yeah, anyway.
And then when I got on the scale, I don't like the scale. When I get to the doctor and they said, Miss Parker, get on the scale, I said, I'm not here for that. But I got on the scale today, and the numbers were excellent. So after we get off of here, I'm going to dance.
Girl, that's all them pans of macaroni and cheese you had to make this past.
But I haven't eaten any.
I know, but you were busy making them. You was working up.
And then running up these 3-level of stairs. Yeah, it has something to do with it.
That's good. Wow. But okay, were you finished with the list, Ashley? I want to make sure we get the whole list.
Yeah. I mean, deep breathing. We don't understand how shallow our breathing gets when we're stressed, and like some of us like really get shallow breathing to the point where we start hyperventilating. But you don't have to be to that point. Like just really kind of sit and slow your breathing down so that you're like really able to take in the breath as it fills your lungs. And in the season of social media, don't be afraid to unfollow or mute people.
Yep.
Bye. Like I'm not a fan of cutting people off after one disagreement or whatever. But if people are posting stuff and it just vexes your spirit to no end, and it can be one post, I will hide people's posts for 30 days, baby. I really do. And listen, I am a pro at it. I
better not ever be hitting on your page or Danya. I'm just telling y'all.
I will, and it depends. For some people, if I can keep scrolling and be like, whatever. But if it like really sits with me, I'll be like, you know what? There's a pattern here, especially if there's a pattern. Somebody's on a rant, they're on a whatever, and it's just like, no, like I will hide your post for 30 days. Give me a little break see if you come back and you acting like you got some sense. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, just thinking about things, making better decisions for yourself is self-care, right? It's self-care, is soul care, right? So we just wanted to highlight that on this self-care awareness month that apparently is new.
Yes.
I think that's awesome. I just also want to say, because we fall down, but we get up. I am the one who falls a lot. Okay, and I meant to say a lot. I need to get out every little part of a syllable and add some more in there, and just get back up. Like every day, brand new mercies we see, and God's given me so many mercies. And so when I'm not, like, I get mad, I'm like, "Ooh, I went to bed at 10 o'clock today," which hardly ever happens, and then I'll be up till 4 o'clock the next day and exhausted because I only had 2 hours of sleep, and irritable, and all of the other, things. Do you have the list posted somewhere, Ashley? Nova's asking.
I could post the link. I'm gonna go to your YouTube and
Because I was going to
Okay.
say,
Or if you post it in the private, I can put it on here now.
Okay.
Because I think Nova, I have it on one of the Facebook posts that I've done in the Rock for Life thing.
So
But
you all can visit.
We can go with Ashley, the one that Ashley just did.
Yeah, I kind of took some from there, but generally speaking, like there are, we just really want you to think outside the box for self-care. Obviously, like, those pedicures are timely, and even going to get a pair of pants at Target works too.
Yeah. Retail shop and not retail to the point that you're bankrupt. Okay.
Yeah. So we want to make sure it's something that's actually restorative and not just placating.
And it's also something I just started with that I never thought I would do. Also doing the journal. And I talked to Lisa about that. Starting a journal, it has helped me a lot. Because she just said this to me yesterday. Did you write? Yes, I've been writing. And it's actually helpful a lot. Just sit, turn everything off, and just start writing.
I'm just laughing because praise the Lord. That's all I can say. You talk about resistance to journal. I don't like it, but when I was a counselor, I always gave out that assignment. It was like, okay, you probably should do that. So when my mom died, I promised myself that the next whole year from January 1 to December 31st, I would write in my journal every single day. And I probably did not like it, but in the process of writing a book, I went through the whole thing because I wanted to be able to pull out things that happened in that year. And I was like, wow, God, I remember I had numbness like in my shoulder, like for no reason. And he healed it. I had back issues and God healed it. And by he, I meant God. I remember conversations and things that happened. And I was just like, wow, there's no way that we will remember all the things, that happened in 1 year. And so journals are great. Now, I don't like to keep stuff. So I went through all of it and then I discarded it. That's just me. Some people keep theirs. But y'all should do, if y'all don't know me, I don't like electronic color or real clutter. And so if it's just going to be in a space somewhere and I'm not going to use it, I need to get rid of it. But I made sure that I made notes of what was important and to recognize what God had done for me in that year. And so journal writing is so effective, just to even talk about whatever it is, or even to, talk about the things that you want to happen. I see my life, in a better place. I see me with a better job. I see me with, positive affirmations are amazing. You don't have to just say them, but you could write them and you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to actually say them, but do it until you actually believe it, until it comes, to pass. So, yeah, we like pretty much out of time, and I want to make sure we give our shout outs. Thank y'all so much for just participating as always, and ladies who are on, and Kenneth. I don't know, maybe there are other guys because I can't see everybody because everybody doesn't chat. We've had people come in and out. I thank you all for participating. Nova said our energy and time is more valuable than money. I can't afford to waste either. Yep, I agree with you, Ash. Tracy, Nova said, oh, perfect. Thanks, ladies. Talking about the link. And Tracy said this was a great conversation. Tracy's my friend from high school, y'all. And Dhyana knows Tracy too. And I can't wait to say how we know each other. But anyway, and so she's always supported, from the beginning. She would always comment, and then she'd be like, okay, I gotta go to Bible study. And so I appreciate that. Or she'll come back and look at you like, I didn't get a chance to look. To me, that's a real friend. I always tell Ashley, I was like, you got like innate people. They would just be in your corner and they support you. I know a lot of people, but my peeps don't do that. They don't come to concerts, they don't come to shows, they won't watch the show. But you know what? I know this is something that God put on my heart to do. And there's one person, even if it is just one person that this touches, there's somebody out there that is going to get something from this. But we need your help to do that. We need you. You see what Tracy said, Danya? We need you to actually share this with people. Share it on your page. You don't have to like call nobody out and be like, you need self-care and send it to them. I mean, but if God lets you to do that, that's a different story. But we just ask you to share it on your page. Let's do Ashley first. So not only is Ashley married, I don't know what she does. She must have like an energy pill or some type of rabbit in her body that makes her keep going, because she is getting her doctorate like right now. She just got married and she's an author, y'all. Let's give it up again for Ashley. Can you tell them about your book, Ashley, and tell them about where they can find you? All the 50,000 places, please. Yes, you should have had the book right there.
I think she went to go get it.
No, I'm like, you supposed to have it at the desk. Tell us about Arden.
Listen, today was a rough day. Okay, so this is a book for, and of course Zeus is barking. Meet my son Zeus. Say hi, Zeus. So Arden Learns the Right Lesson is my newly published book. It is a book for early childhood education. And Arden, who is named after my niece in real life, she's dealing with some anxiety at school and about making mistakes. And so her mother helps her to talk through. So it gives some very practical kind of information about, helping young children deal with anxiety, specifically around making mistakes. So if you would like to purchase, I'm going to send it to Lisa so she can put it in the chat. But it's masteringmymattersnow.org/books. And it has all the links. It is on Amazon. It's at Barnes & Noble. It's on Target. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. And before you go, I just want to put this on. Nova was asking about journal and how we start. I said I usually like a thankful journal, especially if doing self-care, is a good way to start. But just usually in the end of the day or in the beginning of the day, if you're one of those people who has enough time to actually get up early and do stuff before work, that's not me, not my calling. But if that is yours, just start writing down your feelings, your thoughts for the day, or you can write down your intentions or just what you're thankful for. Like, whatever kind of happened that day. The thing about journaling, or it could be a prayer journal, like just praying to God, just actually talking, to God in your journal, just keep it safe. Tracy said beautiful cover art, Ashley. So that's one of the ways that I start with journaling. Did you all want to speak? I'm going to give you a chance, Danya. Don't worry, I didn't forget you, but I just wanted to find out. No, I'm just saying I didn't forget you. I wanted to make sure.
It says Breaking Systems, Stigma, and Strongholds. So if you would like a shirt, we got other merchandise up on masteringmymattersnow.org.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is Ashley's, her book and stuff. Just if you go to masteringmymattersnow.org, you're going to find a lot of stuff. Lots of stuff. Anyway, I don't have no shirts, no nothing next to me. But anyway, that's beside the point. Danya, please tell us what you're doing. Danya's always doing something. I can't even keep up. And I sometimes find out after the fact because she didn't even tell me. And she thinks that I see her social media pages, but we don't talk on social media a lot because we actually talk when I can get her to talk to me. And so, yes, that was shade, but like loving shade. Okay. And so when I can get her to actually pick up the phone and talk to me, then I find out about stuff and I'd be like, oh, you did what? I didn't know about that. So please tell us about what you're doing and how people can find you, and then give me your write it down because I'm a little frazzled today, and I will post it in the chat. You're welcome, Nova.
It's the rockforlifefoundation.org.
Can you type it over there in the
over where?
In the private chat, just like you did earlier, and then the copy and paste it.
I'm sorry. But
I don't know why I'm gonna let y'all
right now, the only thing that we're doing, we're getting ready to end the year We have our Thanksgiving basket giveaway for the holidays, and that will be November the 20th. And then we're preparing for next year.
Do you put this on your site too? Like your events, are they on your website as well?
Yes, they're on the website, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. We're in the process of updating. I'm in the process also of adding the different classes that I've been taking, the training. So it's training for me to give to other people, like the personality assessment. I've been doing that. So I'm certified for that. I just got to get my package together. And there's like a quite few, there's a few more certifications that different types of training, anger management and stuff like that.
I told you y'all, she stay educated. I love it. Like I ain't mad at them at all. I don't have time for it. So it's funny because we started out one way. I haven't shared on here live that my plan next year is to go back and get the doctorate, but if in trauma, because of all the trauma I've been through, I felt like the best way to explain that is to become a renowned trauma expert and teach other people. Because people want to see you with credentials, even though I've been counseling and dealing with trauma with other people for 20 years. But that's beside the point. So I feel like my focus is shifting, even though trauma is still a part of mental health. Ashley's focus, or Ash, sorry, is, she deals with a lot of marriage and family and that type of thing. And Danya does do a lot of suicide prevention, awareness, and depression and mental health in all aspects. And so together, we're not a couple, but we're a powerful group of three. That's all can't say power couple, but that's what that is. And then you all can find me. So like right now, Ash and I have t-shirts, Stigma Breaker t-shirts and hats on our website. On our website. And you can find them there. I have One Singing Lady shirts and hoodies. And so you don't have to be a singer to have the shirt. You know what I'm saying? You get cold, go ahead and support a sister and buy One Singing Lady. It's pound One Singing Lady. And it's also a way to remind where you can go to find me on social media. So I'm One Singing Lady on everywhere else except for YouTube, where it's spelled out O-N-E. SINGLADY. I have my music on my website as well, and you can find all my social media links. Follow me on TikTok, y'all. I can't believe how much I love TikTok now. So yeah, go follow me. And I don't do a lot of them, but I do enough. So just go follow that. Make sure you follow us, support us in our endeavors. Tracy said when your friends have and our resources. Yes, absolutely. So I don't know. I just come back to thank y'all for being on the show. And if you have questions, appreciate it. Thanks, and y'all have a good